Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the You're Still Here podcast. Thank you for coming back. I mean, you should still be here because it's called the You're Still Here podcast. So once you're here, you kind of got to still be here, or else this name wouldn't mean a thing. I have to change the name of this podcast to like the True Bunkers podcast. And why would I ever name it something like that? Because I went into the True Bunkers and took one of my rabbit holes to the next level. Which rabbit hole, you ask? Remember last week I told you about the aggro crag, how I got scammed by purchasing that piece of the aggro crag that you see behind me, a scam piece of the aggro crag, the same one that the guy from the whatever podcast has right in the middle of that table there where he's interviewing the girls. We got scammed by the Etsy listing that made it look like it was an actual piece of the aggro crag that should be like the size of a truck tire, but instead we got these little paperweights that would fit on a desk. And I obviously wasn't too pleased. And what did I talk about last time? How I should be able to write to Nickelodeon and all this stuff. So I went a little bit deeper. Remember I told you about that listing? I told you about how in like 2011, 2012, the last piece of the aggro crag that was made available to the public went on sale on eBay, sold for like $1,500. Well, I dug a little deeper. I found on a little Reddit thread. Yeah, this is what we're doing. The True Bunkers podcast. You should subscribe to it now by clicking subscribe and notifications because you never know when a new episode is going to come out. That's right. But I went into those True Bunkers, looked to the next level. There was a Reddit thread where some guy said, oh, I was at my friend's house. He had a party and like, look what I saw in his bedroom. And he thought it was no big deal. And it was a picture of a piece of the aggro crag. And I think it turns out there's only like about 205 of those. That you have like 206. Or is that bones in your body? But there was roughly 200 pieces of the aggro crag, dispersed around the country. And this guy uploaded a picture of seeing his friends, like in his bedroom or something like that, with the Global Guts medal around it. And it said the guy's name on it. So I said, you know what? How about let's do a little search for this guy. Let's see what this guy's doing. Maybe this guy does a podcast like me and I could reach out to him podcaster to podcaster. But anyway, I was able to find the guy here on the True Bunkers podcast. And I simply sent him a DM and I just said, I'd love to know how many people offered you money to buy your piece of the aggro crag. And he responded to me and said, quite a few. To be honest, LOL. So the first thing I'd like to share with you is I am now officially in touch with an actual owner of a piece of the aggro crag. So I don't want to say step one achieved, but that's something. That's something. Usually, when you're uncovering cases, you need that first little catalyst to get you into the door. Usually step one leads you to step two, leads you to step three. So then I responded to him because I wanted to act like I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of these people here to just try to get your piece of the aggro crag. The whole thing, luring them with vinegar, honey. And I said, that thing is honestly, it should be worth more than Aaron Judge's 60-second home run. That's what I said to the guy. And he gave me big LOLs, ha, ha, ha. And what I think I would like to do is I would like to tell him, listen, I don't want to buy your piece of the aggro crag. I don't want to offer you to purchase your piece. I don't deserve your piece of the aggro crag because I didn't climb the rock. I didn't beat the other two jabronis. I didn't deserve it. I don't deserve to own a piece of the aggro crag. But can I rent a piece of the aggro crag? I want to ask him if I can rent his real piece of the aggro crag and send him this. I'll send him this episode of the actual podcast and say, look, I just want to have it in the back. You can check in on it. It will be there every week for you to check out. Like right now, someone from Etsy, whoever made this fake crag piece of garbage, they can check in on its status every single week. I want to ask this crag owner to rent their piece and we can draw up a contract. I'm not here to run any scam. There is a scam of the week on this podcast and we will get to that. But this is about scam exposing, not scam creating. So I want to offer to rent a piece of the crag, but we will come up with terms as to if I damage X, I'm responsible for this amount of money, and we will come up with the appropriate terms. I'm not here to pull one over on him. I simply want a piece of the aggro crag in the background because that's immediate respect from a large contingent of people. And like I said, there's only about 200 or something of it left. And we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to wait. This is like dealing with a hot chick. This is an aggro crag owner. Okay? You don't just start texting them every day. This is like that hot guy. They can choose to give that crag to a lot of people, but you want that crag owner. You got to play your cards right. You can't be messing it. One single text, like that meme says, one text can ruin it all. And it shows you a sign on the road saying that, meaning like it could cause an accident and end your life. But that's how it goes with hot girls, and that's how it goes with the crag owner. And when I was thinking about trying to track down this piece of the crag, it was suggested to me, there should be some sort of service. Because there are things out there that aren't the aggro crag, but they're like it. And people are trying to track down. Well, I want to find that jersey of that player, like an obscure player who played 2 games. Somebody has it out there, but it's not on eBay. And when you search for it on Google and nobody has it, but there should be something called like searchparty.com or the Search Party app where the world tries to assist you in tracking something down and linking you up with somebody who might have it. For example, you may know somebody whose cousin went to school with someone who got married to someone who's brother's dating someone who, whatever, and they have a piece of the aggro crag. Like the 7 degrees of Kevin. If there are 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, then there's definitely 7 degrees to the aggro crag. You can get there, but we just need to facilitate something to help people get the things that they're looking for. And I'm not talking about like on TikTok when some girl sees a guy on the subway that she thinks is cute. So rather than say something, rather than smile, rather than wave, she secretly records the guy, then goes onto TikTok, uploads it, and says, "Oh, I thought this boy was cute. TikTok, do your thing because I'm too much of a coward." I know you've seen those videos. I'm not talking about that because in that case, her aggro crag is right across from her. You just got to reach out and grab it. But my aggro crag, I don't know where it is. There hasn't been one piece of this thing on sale in over 10 years. And I know there are a few owners who think nobody gives a rat's ass. But what if they knew that a guy opened up a second straight podcast talking about this rock for over 10 minutes? They would have no clue. But somebody on searchparty.com would help me track that person down. And especially if you're short on time, which in these last couple of months, I definitely have been a busy guy. I obviously have all those videos that I create on the Odd Shopper channel. I was doing for NFL and now NHL playoffs. Very busy. So maybe when it slows down in the summer, because once the Stanley Cup ends in June, I'll have more time late June, July, August for other things that I want to do, not just tracking down an actual piece of the aggro crag. But you know what I was thinking this year? I think it's time that Andy does something that a lot of people do, and that's those summer vacations. Try to go on a summer vacation because I actually remember these last few years, July, August, there's nothing good on TV. There's no sports that I want to watch, and don't even start with baseball. Nobody's watching that. You see the crowds in these games? No, they may as well go back to the pandemic baseball where they were putting cardboard cutouts of like Cosmo Kramer in the audience. But I was thinking, in August, I feel like when I'm trying to set up the fantasy football draft for late August, everyone gives me their availability. Oh, I'm going on vacation the first week. I'm going on vacation the second week. I'm going on vacation third week. It feels like August, everyone's going on vacation. And maybe I should add myself to the bunch this year. However, there's one big caveat. I obviously hate humidity and I hate swampy heat. I hate the heat. So there are certain places like the Bahamas that's just eliminated. Puerto Rico, anything that was in the Beach Boys song is just out of it. Aruba, no. Jamaica, no. Ooh, I want to take you. No. Bermuda, no. Bahamas, no. But the Florida Keys, no. I'm not going anywhere down to that swampy Caribbean area in August. Do you know the size of the mosquitoes that would be down there? No, absolutely not. So you got to see my Google searches. I'm starting to search for summer vacations, coastal towns with a sea breeze. That's what is in my Google right now. Coastal sea breeze, cool summer vacation areas. Because I know some of you people are like, oh, go to Iceland. Yeah, I went to Iceland during the summer. Good time. Not doing that because that was like 58 degrees or something like that. I know I can maybe go to Sweden or something. But no, I want to go to a vacation summer spot, but just not deal with the actual late summer weather, because you know that's the worst. Late August is brutal. But if you want to know what I'm thinking about, like, I want a non-American version of San Diego. San Diego it's as good as it gets. It's a whole city on the water, and obviously in the Southwest there in Southern California, there's no humidity. So like an 82 in San Diego is like a 68-degree summer day in New York. And it's usually comfortable all year round there. So I want the San Diego somewhere maybe on the Italian coast. Maybe I'm thinking there's a couple of coastal towns in northern Italy where we're getting that fresh sea breeze. So that's what might be on the agenda come August. Or I might just scrap the whole thing. I might just scrap the whole thing, because also when you think about, the prices are going to be inflated. Everyone's going to be traveling. You go to one of these places. Oh, are you from and then you're from? No, I'd rather go, just like I told you about holidays. Don't go party on New Year's Eve. Go party on April 9th. That's when you should do it off peak. Same thing, you should fly off. Everything you do should be off peak, not just to save money, because it makes it more enjoyable. Do you feel me? And with the summer, we can say rapidly approaching, everyone's trying to scrape their bodies together to get in that summer shape. And you can just lump me in there with everyone else. I'm right in there with everyone else. I for one straight year now, I've been in the, I'm getting back into it phase. I've been getting back into it for 1 year, where I'm still at the 2 to 3 workout days per week kind of schedule. I thought when I started, okay, 2 days, and then we're going to get that to 4 eventually. No, I'm still stuck at like 2 to 3 days. But it is better than nothing. I'm trying to get better with it. I was at the gym, and the first thing I want to say is and I don't want to be one of those guys who goes like, people at the gym, but for my whole life, when people go up to the water fountain with their full 9-gallon jug and they see the person behind you or behind them, they don't have a jug, they don't have a water bottle, they're literally going in for that junior high lean over sip, and the audacity of them to just stand there. I wish I had a cattle prod to just go and just borderline tase them, because that's what they deserve. Oh my God, Andy, that's I wouldn't actually do it, but just that lack of self-awareness. You scoot to the side, I get and I'm out of there, and now you can go back to filling your cauldron of whatever the hell you brought to the gym with your freaking powders and whatnot. So yeah, that, and also the water in those water fountains, I will say, I think that's fine. I think that water that you see in the water fountains at the gym, that's actually filtered water. I feel like I can trust that machine. But there are other ones I don't, and that brings me to my scam of the week.
It's a scam.
That's a scam.
What a scam that was.
So this was all a scam, huh?
Brita water filters, those plastic filters that you just throw sink water in, and then it comes out the other side, and you now magically think it's clean. All the people in Flint, Michigan, if they would have just took that chemical-laced water and thrown it through a $7 plastic Brita filter, it would have been absolutely fine. It would have been fine. That is all show, no dough in those filters. I'm not talking about the full machines. Think about the contrast between these two. A full machine that makes noise at the gym that starts at the floor and ends at your waist. That's creating fresh water versus a $10 plastic, like some sort of pinwheel that it just spits in one side and then just trickles out the bottom. Yeah, maybe it can get out some specks of dirt or sand. I kind of trust that it can maybe do that. But you ever see those videos where people are staying in hotels in random towns where I guess they have poisonous water, like where those, trains went off the tracks in Ohio, and they take their lighter and hold it up to the water that's coming out of the sink and it actually starts to light up? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Brita isn't getting rid of that. And I was just thinking about that as I was using my own one. And I'm just like, this is just sink water. I'm drinking cold sink water and I'm convincing myself it's better. They just need to rename the Brita The Placebo because it's you thinking you're drinking filtered water. So unfortunately, I guess it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're either paying for it, you're paying for something that was free and fine back in the day, or you're drinking sink water and telling yourself that it's not sink water by putting it through a plastic $10 filter. So the scam of the week, the water filters. Yeah. So another thing, when I was at the gym, by the way, after getting my nice childish sip of water after waiting 25 minutes for a guy to fill his jug, was the TVs that they had around. The last time I mentioned the TVs, I said it was a way you could sneak a look at those hot girls who want to film you and catch you looking at them so that they can, quote unquote, out you on TikTok. And I said always use those TVs and position their ass in between you and the TV and sneak peeks at the TV. Now, I don't want to say I was sneaking peeks at someone's ass, but I do want to say that I was peeking at the TV. You want to know what was on it? What, you think TNT was on? No, they were rotating the personal trainers' profiles through the TVs at the gym. It's bad enough I got to do everything to avoid these people when I go, oh, Andy, we saw you haven't used that one free personal training session. Oh, really? You're just going to train me that one time and then we're good to go after that? You're not just going to sit me down like a car salesman and try to get me a bunch of, oh, no. So I do everything I can to avoid that. Oh, I come in with the full fake business phone call, sunglasses when it's a rainy day, got the low brim, just to avoid eye contact with those people. But now they're spitting their faces on a rotation on all the TVs at the gym. And all I kept seeing when I was seeing all those people show up was just a web of people who have all screwed each other. Because that's what I think happens at the gym. That's another, I think, dirty, untold story of gym community people who work for the same companies. Like all these people at your New York Sports Club, your Crunches and your 24-hour fitness, I'm convinced that all those trainers, they're all screwing each other. And I don't want to use anecdotal evidence and just say, well, that's the case with everyone. But many of the people that I know who work at gyms, they've always hooked up with a person here, a person there. And forget about the clients. I mean, that's always known. I mean, look at Giselle. Who did she end up with after Tom Brady? Oh, that's right, her personal trainer. It should be called your personal cheater. A good-looking, in-shape person that's there who can just bend you. And he's like, no, this is all like, I mean, I know this is cliche, but is that like forgetting Sarah Marshall or something? But the yoga instructor, they're all trying to bang you. So, I mean, the professional, the personal cheaters are there, personal trainers / cheaters, but they're also screwing each other. They're all screwing. It's an incestual. Well, think about it also. What are they doing? They're there, they're working out, they're all in good shape. They all like people in good shape. They're usually pretty decent looking. And if they're not decent looking, they're one of those butter faces where everything looks good because she's in shape, butter face, or the guys as well. And then you couple that with the fact that they got all the hormones running. That is just, pardon my French, a fuck fest going on in those gyms. And this is just me kind of speculating. I only know one or two people, but usually I've always believed in any sort of company. They say that like 50% of people meet their significant other in the work environment. And that's even like offices and stuff. Your office space job where just like, hey, Cindy, did you go to the company? But those people end up together. Now imagine people in the gym with those hormones running. But I've always said that about anyone in the bar, restaurant, nightlife, but you should know this. If you ever see a girl you think is cute tending bar, just know, walk to the back bar and you see that guy just kind of slowly spinning drinks while he was spinning her the night before. Every single person hooks up with their boss. I'm telling you, I know at least 4 of these stories. Go ahead. Anybody you know who works in a nightclub, restaurant, anything like that, I want you to call them, and it's got to be someone who doesn't lie to you. No, I would never, come on, it's at work. Somebody who would be honest with you, they're all effing each other. I don't know why I sense it. I act like I'm going to be demonetized for like the few hundred people who listen to this. I don't know why I don't curse. Maybe I'm just trying to become a better person who's trying to manipulate somebody into renting me his piece of the aggro crack. So yes, I am trying to up the gym game, but you can't just up the gym game because, 40% genetics and 40% diet and then 20% working out. And there's more percentage because working out and being in shape, it's a lifestyle. It's over 100%. But a lot of it is diet. And I've been trying to be better with that. With me, it's just a carryover of my earlier phase of life. Monday to Thursday's kind of easy. Weekends, not so easy. When I go grocery shopping, try to be cognizant of those things. And I went down the aisle in the grocery store and I came upon something that I like. And I'm going to continue to eat this because you're not going to convince me that it's truly unhealthy. I feel like I know when something's unhealthy. When I put something inside me like a cheesy gordita crunch, you know what doesn't jive with your whole system. But I was going to get some peanut butter. And what is the classic debate with peanut butter? It's a debate as old as time or as old as peanut butter has been around, right? Crunchy versus creamy. I've seen people, they've severed relationships over that. People, they ended up hooking up with their personal trainer after they learned their significant other was a crunchy guy or a creamy guy. But that's not the debate about peanut butter at all. Not anymore. There's a new one. And it's also another scam of the week.
It's a scam.
That's a scam.
What a scam that was.
So this was all a scam, huh?
Stir peanut butter. Wait, what? What? Stir peanut butter. But what do you mean? I'm talking about when you take the lid off of peanut butter and there's just a pool of oil there, and now you have to do some weird digging where you create holes where the oil goes in there, and then you have to start mixing it around like one of the Sanderson sisters. Like you have to mix it around like a witch's brew to now have a can of peanut butter, opposed to the no-stir peanut butter, which is, peanut butter. I never heard of stir peanut butter until like a few years ago. Did they just remove a step from the peanut butter creating process to save money? And now they're making us stir? Like, is this the version of a self-checkout line? Not only do we have to buy the peanut butter, but we got to open it and now just mush this around. And you know how awful it is? As soon as you put a spoon in there to try to do something, it's already overflowing. The oil is just leaking over the edge. And just seeing that oil there is just disgusting. And you have to kind of seep it all the way to the bottom. And then your first meal is not so great because you didn't get the ratios properly. What the hell is this no stir versus stir peanut butter? Stir peanut butter should be obsolete tomorrow. Nobody wants to do it. We want to stick that knife in the peanut butter, have a nice clump of it, and spread it on the bread. And if you're one of those sickos who puts your peanut butter in the fridge, I don't know what to tell you. I guess you liked ripped bread because that's what happens when you try to spread it on any sort of bread. Yeah, these are hard-hitting topics here. Okay, we're going to get into CNN versus Fox News and layoffs at Disney next. No, we're talking about peanut butter and how this stir stuff is complete nonsense and it is an absolute scam. So yeah, it's another scam of the week. It's stir peanut butter. And unfortunately, the no stir peanut butter was out. So I got, right now upstairs, I got this damn stir peanut butter and I'm not happy about it.
I think it's a scam.
So I just want to let you know that. And on the way out, by the way, there's a funny process when you check out at the grocery store. At least it is for me. It's just how my mind, it moves fast. But once you put that little divider up there to separate yourself from the person in front of you, because it's going to be a big catastrophe if you just delineate with, you just leave a little space. No, we need the dividers. But once I got my stuff on there, the first thing I'm doing is I'm judging the person in front of me. Like, what items did this person get? What did this guy go with? He went with yodels and 4 things of Eggo. I mean, that actually sounds pretty good. But you know what I'm saying? I'm judging this guy's items. And similarly, I just assume someone else is judging my items. So I don't want to go too heavy on one thing. Like, I don't want to show up with 12 items and 6 are all one thing. And you know what I'm saying? I'll have decoy items on my grocery list just so that somebody in front of me or behind me thinks, oh yeah, it's just kind of a normal quick order. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that people around me, because I do it, that classic guilty conscience of somebody. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I'll put fake items in my cart just so that somebody, because you never know who it's going to be. Maybe I'll see my personal trainer there, and maybe she'll see my items there and be like, you know what? I want to hook up with this guy again because I already have, because that's what personal trainers do. But that's kind of funny, right? Like on the process of stacking your order up with other people's. I found myself doing that when I was checking out from there. That's not the only instance where you do stuff like that. Another instance where you do that is kind of when you go through somebody's apartment. When you're looking for apartments and somebody's on their way out, but they're still set up in their apartment, and you have to set up those weird appointments where they might just be sitting in their living room. How weird is that, by the way? You just do a lap around somebody's apartment and just see how some guy you don't know lives. That's a weird process. Some guy's just sitting there. I would say watching the Yankees, but nobody watches baseball anymore. Some guy's sitting there watching something, and you're just walking around his apartment. It's a real weird thing. And I always feel like everybody just nobody uses your space properly. And I feel like it's depressing when you go in there and you see I'm moving in after this guy. Look at this guy. He's got no box spring. He just threw his mattress on the floor. I'm going to live there. It's like the guy ruined it by putting that stuff in there before you. And I do want to mention, I recently remembered that there is a video on YouTube from right before the pandemic when I moved out of my apartment. I didn't know at the time, but the landlord was like, oh, can I come by? Because I was at work, and I was like, yeah, you can go in there. I thought she was going to be showing somebody the apartment. She did a walkthrough, like a digital walkthrough, and posted it on YouTube. Now, that's fine if I'm some regular guy, but why don't you take a look right next to me right now? I got perpetual noses here. Do you know what my apartment looked like? I had a cardboard cutout of Freddy Krueger. I had Weekend at Bernie's life-size posters on the wall, and this is what's on YouTube? Who's going to want this apartment? Actually, maybe a lot of people. And my apartment at the time, I also used for my studio like this to shoot things, and before I had space like this, it was like if you've ever seen The Addams Family, where the room just kind of spins and it turns from a regular room and now all of a sudden it's a full vault, I had a bunch of rigged things. I had a green screen rolled up basically into the ceiling that I could roll down, and then the green screen comes down. These big studio lights just would wheel out from the side, and the whole apartment just could 180 just like that. And this was all kind of seen in the peripherals of this person's video, along with my Weekend at Bernie's, along with my Nightmare on Elm Street, and whatever ridiculous things were around my apartment. And that's still on YouTube today. I guess it's cool to revisit a little bit because that was right before the pandemic. And even though, if you think about it, that's relatively recently, it seems like a lifetime ago. And I guess as each year goes by, it's going to be a little bit funnier to revisit that. And, that's kind of how that apartment ended. Just like that's how this podcast is going to end. I want to thank you guys for all coming back. It's always appreciated. I think you learned a lot today. I think you guys are way more informed and educated individual. Don't you feel smarter? Don't you feel like you've now expanded your mind? Don't you feel like you're ready to take on the world? What do you mean? I gave you $1 million idea. Searchparty.com. Create the Search Party app. Help somebody find an original piece of the aggro crack. Anyway, I'll be back with you next time. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel here, or if you're listening on the audio versions of the podcast, click the notifications and stuff so you know there's a new episode. You guys obviously know sometimes I do it every week, then I take a week off. Sometimes I upload it Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Today I'm recording on a Wednesday. I don't know what day it is. I filled out something. I remember last episode I said, oh yeah, I thought it was 2022. That's what it's like being over here. All right, everyone. I will be back with you next time. Have a good rest of your spring. Yeah, that counts. See ya.